PGL Bucharest Major 2018 SEA qualifiers. It's just me, Basekip. I think Lumi was going to be casting with me, but I suspect that he may have misread the schedule since things have changed in between yesterday and today. So this is this is the last match for this GSL group here in the SEA qualifier. So Execration and Boom ID both fighting to move forward. The loser of this best of 3 is going to be out of the qualifier, and the winner will advance to play against the winner of the other group, I believe, which was, I want to say at the top of my head, Clutch. I'm going to make sure of that for you guys right this second.
5 seconds.
Where's that schedule? There it is. Yeah. Okay, so the winner of this match is going to play against Clutch in the next round. That is a single elimination 4-team bracket, so it's just 2 rounds, but we'll get there when we get there. We've got this whole best of 3 ahead of us. These 2 teams did match up against each other just 2 days ago, and that was a 2-1 in favor of Execration. I think they could have won that series. I think they could have potentially won that series 2-0 as well, so I am favoring them a little bit overall going into this game, going into this series. Though Boom, maybe a little bit more information, maybe they saw what happened to Execration yesterday, looked at those replays, and are a little bit better equipped to play against them now. So we'll have to see. Execration going to be getting their hands on the Night Stalker, something that they were never given the opportunity to pick against Fnatic. We've got Earth Spirit, Omni Knight, and Clockwork banned out. Tiny Razor and Doom as the Boom bans. Those are definitely heroes that Execration have been looking at very heavily. And they're also going to take the Bounty Hunter for themselves, which is another hero that Execration have been picking a little bit. Raging Potato especially playing that. And getting a surprising amount of farm on his Bounty Hunter yesterday. I do have to give him some props for that. He's been doing really well on the position 4, but he's a super versatile player, so it's no big surprise to see that he's kind of excelling across the board. And they're also going to be going for the Jakiro. No Rasta just yet, and Boom actually just going to be opting for a Disruptor. I like the support combo. If they're ahead, they're going to get the Bounty Hunter track vision, and then they're going to be able to get the glimpses back. The lineup is going to be very difficult to escape if they do find themselves in a position where they're ahead. But where I start to worry about them, and where I worry about these heroes in general, is if they're behind and they're the ones getting run at, then their spells are not very impactful at all. And they're both relatively light when it comes to damage. I mean, not completely terrible, but Bounty Hunter and Disruptor are not going to be running around finding, kills on cores or anything like that. Whereas a Night Stalker and a Jakiro, in the right circumstances, could be picking off an offlaner or something like that at various points in the game. So definitely something to be looking out for. The potential, I guess it's a soft counter to the Night Stalker getting banned out here in the Lycan. I'm just going to take one quick second to make sure that my stream is live. Hello.
10 seconds
Are we
remaining.
live? We are indeed live.
5 seconds
Alright, that's
remaining.
good news. Let's see if I've heard anything from Lumi. I have not.
Turn to ban.
So okay, we'll just go. Assume it's a solo cast. I've got plenty of practice doing this. It's no big deal. Queen of Pain going to be banned out. Execration leaving themselves pretty wide open in terms of what their draft is going to end up being. I am interested to see what kind of cores they end up prioritizing, given that, like I've said, a lot of their go-tos are already out. We have seen them playing some Shadow Fiend. We saw them playing a little bit of Medusa the other day. So it's not like they're completely out of heroes. They are a fairly versatile team overall, but they do need to make some decisions as to what they're going to be picking up. It could be a decent game for a relatively mobile core. I could see something like a Weaver or Storm Spirit being okay. I mean, the Storm may be a little bit difficult to play in some circumstances against the Disruptor, but if you just jump him, and if you have someone that can just jump him and kill him, then you're not really all that worried. Even something like a PA, I think, could be quite good in this situation for Execration. I wonder if they feel like they have to ban the Tinker. I mean, they're no strangers to running the Tinker plus Bounty Hunter as a combo. The track vision setting up for really easy rockets non-stop. Very, very annoying to deal with. Very difficult to kind of find the Tinker. They do have the Night Stalker, which is certainly going to help, but they may need to, beef up the lineup a little bit more in terms of dealing with it. Though if they're also thinking along the same lines that I am in terms of maybe this is a decent Storm Spirit game or similar, then maybe they'll just look at the Storm Spirit as their answer to the Tinker if it does happen to come out, and they can leave that all the way until potentially last pick. I mean, if the Tinker comes out in the second phase here, then they will probably have to take the Storm if they want it, since there's still one ban remaining for Boom. But speaking of bans, they've got one coming up here. I mean, they're probably just trying to look through common cores for Execration in the last couple of days. There is a lot of data to go off. There are a lot of qualifiers going on. So should be able to get a relatively good idea. Maybe just something like the SF ban. Oh, okay, interestingly enough, going to be banning out the Tide Hunter. I guess that the Tide would have been sort of teamfight superiority for Execration. They're still going to find that teamfight superiority as they pick up the Faceless Void. But, I mean, the Tide ban is a little bit surprising given that they have the Disruptor. I think Disruptor does deal with Tide reasonably well, but given that you have the Disruptor, you probably want to be able to take 5-on-5 fights, and if Boom end up in a situation where they feel like they can't actually take 5-on-5 fights, that's where the game could get really tough. So I don't mind this Tide ban. Void going to get picked up. Good synergy with the Jakiro. Could be safe lane or could be off lane. I think the most recent time that we've seen Execration play it, it was Nando handling it in the safe lane. So maybe making it slightly more likely that we'll be seeing it there. In terms of the matchups against the Boom heroes, I don't think it's necessarily anything spectacular. Disruptor can actually be quite annoying in terms of getting glimpsed out of your chrono or silenced as you go in to get the chronosphere off, but I think they're mostly just picking it for their own synergy and still have tons of opportunity to grab more damage to load into that chronosphere. Maybe we'll even see the Zeus that Lumi has been so excited to see. I think it's decent. It's pretty good against the Tinker as well. Alright, so yeah, we do get the bounty Tinker strat kind of going on. What's the answer going to be? Nyx Assassin, huh? That's see, I don't know about this Nyx Assassin pick. So one, it's an offlane Nyx Assassin, which I don't really like necessarily all that much. I feel like Nyx Assassin is very weak compared to a lot of traditional offlaners. On top of that, they don't really have a ton of AoE disable coming from their actual position 4, which is the Night Stalker. And then I don't really know if Nyx Assassin is that much of a Tinker counter anymore. Sure, running in with Spiked Carapace into a March of the Machines is annoying, but in terms of Nyx Assassin's ability to actually find the Tinker in trees or find him in the backlines, I am a little bit skeptical. So, not a huge fan of this pick for Execration. I still feel like they're the stronger team overall. In terms of the Nyx's ability to really use the chrono as well, I think that's also a little bit dubious, or even to set up for the chrono. And Boom may be sensing... there's not necessarily weakness in terms of the lockdown for Execration, but their lockdown has a lot of conditions. And PL can quite easily dodge an Impale or get out of a silence from Night Stalker once he has his Manta, or get out of the way of an Ice Path. So I don't mind this Phantom Lancer pick, actually. I haven't been a huge fan of Phantom Lancer this patch. I feel like I've seen a lot of games, and even that game that I cast yesterday with, I believe it was Carl, on the Phantom Lancer against Fnatic, where they just got to the point where literally the only hero that he could kill on the Fnatic roster was DJ on his Shadow Shaman, and then after that he didn't actually have the damage to go after anybody else. And I feel like that's something that happens to Phantom Lancer a lot. He's got a huge power spike around the time that he picks up his Diffusal Blade, and then after that it feels like he doesn't really hit his stride until he finishes his Heart and then another +1 item, which is often really difficult to get to. So we'll see what ends up happening this game. I think this is at least a decent PL game, however. And Execration's AoE clear is not amazing either. We did see Nando the other day buying a Battle Fury on his Void, so that could be something that we end up seeing again here. Mjolnir, not an uncommon pickup either. But in terms of actually clearing the illusions, I don't know if Execration have the tools that they need, especially with the Nyx Assassin and the Night Stalker comprising the 3 and 4. So just looking for their mid at the moment. That Storm Ban that I was mentioning is going to come out. Are they going to pick? What are they going to pick? Like DP, not terrible against Tinker, also good with Void. Could be alright. I don't know how amazing it is against the Phantom Lancer. Other options include maybe that Zeus, but I don't know if you want to be playing against like a BH and a Phantom Lancer, or even a Centaur for that matter, as a Zeus. Zeus just does not deal very well with heroes that get up in his face at all. And that's the other problem with the Nyx Assassin as a position 3, in my opinion, is that he doesn't really frontline for your team. So we'll see how Execration look to solve all this. They could just pick like a Shadow Fiend, but that's not a good matchup against the Tinker, really. And there is also going to be the added pressure from the Bounty Hunter. Maybe something like a Leshrac could be okay. I don't think it's too terrible of a laning matchup against the Tinker. It synergizes pretty nicely with the Void, and it is decent against the Phantom Lancer. But I don't know. Execration, I've been a fan of their drafts the last couple of days, but this one to me just seems a little bit discombobulated. Still think they're the better team. Maybe gonna win this match as a result, but I don't know. I don't think they've made it easy for themselves. And yeah, they are just gonna pick the Shadow Fiend. Okay, so it's AoE, it's damage that they really needed. Again, I don't think it's a very good laning matchup, so that does mean that the Night Stalker is gonna have to spend a lot of time mid, probably just zoning out the Tinker and helping him out and making sure that the Bounty Hunter doesn't put on too much pressure on the SF. But let's get into it. Get those overlays sorted out. I'm really glad that we don't have a big draft overlay, so if I accidentally leave the draft overlay on, it doesn't cause too many problems, but there you go. Have remembered to switch it over. In terms of, I want to see, so the last time that these two teams matched up, I already talked about it, there was 2 days ago in this same qualifier. And it was, Execration took game 1, Boom came back and took the second game, and then Execration closed out the series. Execration did actually pick the Tinker Bounty Hunter in that, so they picked the Tinker Bounty Hunter in the first game, and then they ended up winning the third game with a Doom, Legion, Medusa, Tricor. So, a little bit of shared priorities between these two teams in terms of what they're looking to draft. Let's see if we get any interesting starting items. Not really. Pretty standard stuff. Centaur is opting for a little bit more of a contest the lane build as opposed to just stealing the wave. But I don't think that's too big of a deal. Bounty Hunter, very standard inventory. Disruptor. Sometimes I feel like the double clarity on Disruptor is a little bit hopeful. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get so many Thunder Strikes off, and then one of them gets cancelled, or you just don't really have the opportunity, or you run out of health before you actually even get all the value out of the second clarity. But I guess the one nice thing is that he does have a Phantom Lancer in his lane, so he can actually just give the second clarity over to the PL, and they can build up some more harassment that way. Nando's going to get scouted out here. Again, nothing shocking there. Lumic. Do we have an early Observer Ward planted down? We do. Looks like this is Execration kind of taking a bit of a page out of the Fnatic book with this Observer Ward kind of scouting a long way off to the side to catch any rotations over or supports trying to steal their bounty or anything like that. This is a ward that Fnatic was using against them, so it looks like they have been finding some time in amongst all of this qualifier action to take a look at the replays and go from there. Come on, is this button not going to work? Alright, well, my assisted camera operator is not working at the moment, but smooth drag is going to be a-okay. We got a double bounty, it looks like, for both mid laners. They're both getting help from their position 5s to block things up at the beginning here. Nothing too shocking. Yaj looking to steal the wave. Guess who else is looking to steal the wave? It's the Centaur. And it's all pretty standard stuff for the patch, though. Nyx Assassin not choosing the best position to try and steal it from, and is actually going to get forced back here. Yaj tanking a decent amount of damage. I mean, he does have a Mango and his Nyx base regen, but that means Boom get the wave in the position that they want, and they've successfully gotten the steal over on the other side of the map. Meanwhile, over at mid, it's actually Lumic, who will end up taking over the harassment duties and zoning out the Tinker, while Carl grabs a couple of initial CS, up to 2 souls. Nice start for him, but Bounty Hunter going to come in and quickly drive the Jakiro back across the river, and he's going to head down towards bottom. So instead, it's actually going to be Raging Potato playing around up at top, trying to help out the Nyx Assassin a little bit, it looks like. Carl does not actually have a Sentry Ward at the moment, so won't really be able to do anything about this Bounty Hunter harassment here. It does lay out a couple of auto attacks. At the very least, he's got the wave pushing forward, so the Bounty Hunter can't just stand there and harass him down. But that does mean it's just kind of a 1v1 down at bottom. Nando looks like missing 1 CS under the tower, or maybe a couple of CS under the tower, in fact. And will he finally manage to reset the wave to a decent position? That's the question. Oh, can Centaur get this range creep? No. Alright, Nando gets it just in time. Meanwhile, Carl just getting chased down. He's running up the river, in fact. There's a rocket and a laser. If he gets the laser off, I think that's just going to be a kill. Carl runs back for a second, getting slowed down again, and that's going to be your first blood. Bounty Hunter securing it. Very nice. I'm not quite sure why the SF didn't just run back up the river. Maybe the Bounty Hunter kind of attacked him from this side and he thought he could escape, but alright. That's good. This is showing me some of the concerns that I had about the SF pick this game. I guess it just remains to be seen if they have the tools that they need to be able to deal with the Tinker. Oh, Courier's waiting over in the trees here. In Your Dreams realized what's going on. He wants it, but maybe he's just being baited in. Can he actually finish off the Courier kill? He's going to try for the TP out, but there's an ice path from Lumik. I don't know if it was an intentional bait from Carl, but In Your Dream baits himself right in, and we've seen this too many times recently. Nyx Assassin also dying up top. But we've seen this too many times recently. People pressure SF successfully for the first couple of minutes, and then they just give away a kill and give him max souls. And then what? SF's now up to 11-3, Tinker only 7-3, and he wasted his TP, so now he has to walk all the way back out of the lane. This is not a good look. Raging Potato, maybe gonna cop a bit of harassment off the Bounty Hunter here. I don't know if they can really kill him. They need the Phantom Lancer to come across. He did get stunned up by the Nyx Assassin. Dreamacell now with the 2 points up in the Lance. Do they have a glimpse? They don't need it. They've got the point up in the kinetic field, and Raging Potato 100% dead. Disruptor even able to secure that last hit to grab himself some shiny new boots. Actually, they're not very shiny. They're just regular old boots of speed, but it definitely needs those. Centaur has managed to get some good levels down bottom. Makes sense. He's been stealing the wave, and the Jakiro has not been down here really all that much at all so far this game. And Shadow Fiend getting kind of close to his level 5. They are going to have some decent kill potential at that point, especially with the Night Stalker rotation. Maybe coming up around the 4-minute mark. So maybe a little bit more reason for the Bounty Hunter to just chill out around the mid lane right now. We do have a bit of a net worth lead in Boom's favor. Both safe laners farming pretty evenly. The Nyx Assassin a little bit behind the Centaur overall. And still nothing really too interesting to speak of in terms of the item build-up. Carl does just barely manage to chew down on that sentry, but doesn't have a sentry ward of his own anymore, so that is going to create some more space for the Bounty Hunter to do his own thing. Come in here, harassing a bit. They have already used the laser. They've got 2 points up in the rockets. I don't know if they're going to be able to get this kill. The auto attack's very important. No, Carl still has 3 wand charges in reserve. He's going to be A-okay. Still needs to wait another 30 seconds until the shrine pops up. Raging Potato on the prowl. Does manage to get the dust off, and it looks like this should be the end of the Bounty Hunter. No opportunity to TP out. They're not even going to have to use the Void to finish him off. Carl coming in to secure the kill and picks it up easily. Not the Tinker kill, which I think they would have liked a little bit more, but still nice to get the Bounty Hunter off the Shadow Fiend's back and get him back to farming. So the rotation's just a little bit more effective, I think, so far from the Execration supports. Though as I say that, Boom do have the kill advantage. More harassment. Disruptor doing his best to hang around on the mid lane and do something to protect the Tinker, but Raging Potato just runs right in there. You know, knows that this Clarity still has some duration left. Get that bit of value harassment down. Nando, he's going to end up losing his Courier. Nice rotation from Jokam. Now Nando, what can he do? A little jump away is going to get a little bit more harassment here, but he's got tangos. He'll be A-okay. Meanwhile, at the mid lane, In Your Dream tank and raises like crazy, but not quite enough damage. Raging Potato almost brought down. They've already used all the nukes from the Tinker. Carl also dropping quite low. That shrine is up, but I don't know if Carl can really go for it, since there is the Bounty Hunter rotating across. 2 points already up in the Shuriken, and it looks like Carl is just 100% dead here. 1 hit, Shuriken toss, couple more hits are going to do it. Carl trying to run for dear life, but he's gone. Raging Potato with the dust, but he doesn't really have any backup in the area, and we've got the raindrops over on the Bounty Hunter, so instead he just turns his attention over towards the Night Stalker, and those rockets are going to finish it off. Very nice kill for In Your Dream, and some very sloppy play around the Bounty Hunter from Execration. And with that, Bounty Hunter getting even closer to his level 6. These are almost level 5, 6 minutes into the game. which is looking really good for him. And now Lumic gonna get slowed down. Needs to stop the Centaur Warrunner from getting in here with the Stomp, but I don't think he'll be able to escape. That mini stun isn't gonna be enough. Lumic, don't tap the Shrine. It's not gonna save you, I don't think. Nobody's really coming over to help out. Kind of just ends up wasting the Shrine. There's the Stomp. Are they waiting for the double edge? Not even going to use it. Saint just gonna right-click him down. And boom. More kills, more action. Shadow Fiend has managed to reassemble his souls on the mid lane. But the only thing that... Well, I guess they've got a couple of things that are about to come up. The Chronosphere on the Void could be a kill somewhere in there. They've got the Vendetta on the Nyx Assassin soon as well. Though this nighttime, perhaps not as effective as Raging Potato would have maybe liked. Just continuing to throw out some more harassment. Oh, they want this kill on the SF, but they may have bitten off more than they can chew. Looks like he will just get raised down. The Stampede not going to be enough to save him. Carl kind of tanky with that Belt of Strength picked up, and is going to be going for the Yules as the follow-up. Certainly going to be helpful against the Tinker, helpful against the Centaur Stampede. They got a stun over onto the Lancer. Can they get the silence onto him? They don't actually have it skilled up just yet. It's only level 3 on the Night Stalker. Now Dream Cell going to turn around. Yaj forced to pop the Vendetta defensively, unfortunately for him. Still no point in the glimpse from the Disruptor. I think I would have liked to have seen a point in the glimpse instead of the double, the 2 points in the Thunderstrike. They're going to put down a Sentry Ward, and they're actually going to spot Yaj here. Does get a nice Carapace. They're turning their attention over towards the PL. Can they burst him down? Nope, they won't be able to. Bounty Hunter in the right place at the right time, stopping the rest of the Nyx Assassin damage and even grabbing himself a nice little Urn Charge to keep the PL in fighting shape. But this is really not looking good for Execration. At least the Tinker is a little bit behind, but I say behind, and he's already got 1,200 gold worth of progress towards his BOTs. And they are still not really making any rotations. Looks like Nando just kind of content to farm for now. These next few minutes are going to be really important for him. Because on the one hand, he really wants to go for the Battle Fury, I think, to deal with the PL. But at the same time, his team kind of needs him to start doing stuff. Because you look at this, and maybe Lumic also dead. Nice Ice Path, but I think he's still going to get chased down by the Bounty Hunter. Yeah, one more hit's going to do it. So, I don't know. Maybe he just needs to get a Mask of Madness, but he has queued out the Battle Fury. Bounty Hunter looks like he's going to pay for his sins. Alright. So, at least Execration finding a bit of a turnaround, but not these core kills that I think they want to be finding. But yeah, going back to the... So, he's gone for the Battle Fury, but that does mean that the Void's just farming, and it means that there's a lot of pressure on the Yaj Nyx Assassin to make things happen around the map. PL still just kind of farming towards his first timing. We're not going to be seeing him do too much until he picks up the Diffusal Blade. And I guess the one thing that is kind of working out in Execration's favor is that the Boom heroes aren't all that interested in running at them at this point either. Centaur still wants his Blink, Tinker still wants BOTs and Blink, and PL wants the Diffusal Blade, so it's mostly just the Bounty Hunter running around doing stuff. I still don't know, why is my quick buy so weird? See, this is what the regular quick buy should look like, but then a few of my heroes in every game just have this weird, like, broken... That's only one in this game, actually. It's just the Bounty Hunter. I don't know what's up with that. But anyway, alright, a little bit of a commitment from Dreamcell. He knows that he has the Bounty Hunter just around the corner. They're going to right-click down the Jakiro, and now Yaj forced into the Vendetta. Another defensive Vendetta usage. Certainly not ideal for Execration, and in your dreams, seeing plenty of heroes up top is going to finish up the last couple of CS that he needs. Stampede going to get popped. What are they looking for down bottom? Nando forced to use a Chronosphere defensively. Saint looks like he might just end up dying to Carl, however, just got to land these raises. 1 and 2. Nicely done. And the Shadow Fiend now up to 5 kills. Looking good there. Nyx Assassin, I mean, at the very least, get the Vendetta backstab hit on the PL. Make him hurt somewhat. He's pinging, hoping for some assistance, but I don't think anyone's really ready to help out. It doesn't even get a Vendetta hit. Wastes a bit of mana on the Impale. Not good. Oh, now Night Stalker gonna get glimpsed back on mid lane and killed off. I said that the supports on the Boom side wouldn't really be able to find solo kills. I'm gonna be made to eat my words. They do manage to kill off the Night Stalker. Chrono's still on cooldown for a minute and a half as Centaur completely taking over this lane with his Hood of Defiance and just the non-stop double-edge spam. Tinker now with the BOTs, going to be able to lay in with the heat-seeking missile harassment, so Carl forced to retreat back into the jungle. Did opt for the drum, instead of the Yules. I don't know if that means he's going to be going... We've seen... So I feel like people have been talking about Shadow Fiend in terms of like physical build versus magic build. But it does seem to me like people are kind of going for a mix. There's this sort of intermediate build where people are getting like the drum blink but not necessarily rushing BOT, and then it's like drum blink BKB. I guess that's kind of a magical build, but then you aren't buying Aghanim Scepter all the time. It does seem to be a little bit more flexible. Execration. Oh, smoke's gonna get broken as they do spot out the Bounty Hunter's just gonna break his invis. Phase boot away. Doesn't care about that dust slow at all. Can he get out a couple of tracks? They do have a sentry ward back behind the tower. Should be able to quite easily track out the Nyx Assassin. Just gonna try and sidestep the stun. This is once again the problem with the Nyx initiation. It's really not reliable. In your dream, just gonna take a quick stop off back at base. Should be ready to continue defending this top tier 1. What's actually going to end up happening? Is he going to try for something bottom? Nope. Alright, he's coming back top. Wants to defend this tier 1 in the face of the Jakiro. Bounty Hunter lurking around the side. Carapace a little bit annoying, but they now know that it's on cooldown. And they are actually just running away from the SF over here. Saint looking like he's going to be okay. Nando trying to close the gap. The Ice Path not going to do anything. Was just... anticipating that he might be TPing around the corner in fog. No dice. So Boom just going to continue nursing this 2k net worth lead that they do have. Nice scan is going to reveal the Bounty Hunter's position. Can Bounty escape once again? Looks like maybe not. Does get caught up by the Nyx Assassin and brought down. Nice little pickup and some more Midas progress for Yaj. But Tinker still has only died the once. Starting to farm nicely towards his BOTs. The Phantom Lancer heading into the jungle. So it looks like pretty much this entire section of the map just belongs to Tinker for him to farm. Raging Potato going to be able to pick up his phase boots. And we're still just kind of on farm stations. You can see that Lumic really wants to be shoving these towers, but the Tinker is making that exceptionally difficult. We got 2 points up in the Glimpse now from the Disruptor. Static Storm ready to go. They would love this kill on Nando if they can find it. They do have to be a little bit wary of the Chrono, however. And Raging Potato actually scouting out in your dream up here. Is he going to go for the cancel? I don't know if he actually sees him.
Dire's top tower is under
Looks
attack.
like could not quite see him in that patch of
Radiant's
fog.
bottom tower is under
Nando?
attack.
Can he call in enough assistance? Who's got TPs? Nyx has TP, Nightstalker has a TP, Shadow Fiend has a TP, but instead it looks like they're just going to be giving this one away. Nando heads mid to try and grab some more farm. Does not want to risk another death while he's getting close to his Battle Fury.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Really nice D ward from the Bounty. That's instant. That was a full duration ward. Vision for the Radiant actually getting a little bit dicey. They did opt to use an Observer ward up here, hoping to find a Tinker kill behind the tower, but not really going to pan out. They do find the tower for tower trade. Tier 1's falling across the map, but Boom immediately able to make inroads and start using the Radiant jungle, while Execration just lagging a tiny bit behind in terms of their ability to use the Dire jungle. Part of that is because Carl wants to kill the Tinker right now instead of just farming, but Tinker playing very defensively, and in your dream gonna have his gonna have his Blink Dagger up relatively soon. 1 minute until daytime. I would expect that that's gonna be a bit of a timing for Boom, given that they also have their Blink Dagger online at that point, and the PL hitting that first major power spike in the Diffusal Blade. So this next kind of 4 minute window going to be very scary for Execration, and I think they have to hope to find a pickoff in the early stages of the next day, or just towards the end of this night. If they could get this Tinker, that would be huge. They're going to run forward. Spiked Carapace going to set the stun up onto the Tinker, but they've also got mass TPs coming in. The Stampede also set up to defend him, and Yaj just going to TP himself out. Alright. I mean, fairly big commitment from Boom to pop the Stampede to save him, but worth it to keep the Tinker alive, get the Blink Dagger up, and then go from there. Nando finally picking up his Battle Fury. Going to be looking towards a Mask of Madness next. Quite a squishy build. If he gets Static Stormed or Blink Stomped by the Centaur, he is 100% dead, and he's really the backbone of the team fight. And I still think it's a super difficult Void game to play because you don't have anybody to frontline for you. Like, you think about the way that Void wants to play. He wants somebody else to go in and scout for him and soak a couple of spells, and then at that point he'll feel confident to just go in and lob the Chronosphere on a couple of people. Like, you want somebody that's going to force the enemy team to group up to kill them, and I don't know if Execration really have that. Of course, you can kind of get around that by playing a good vision game as Secure gets picked off down bottom, but we're going to keep our eyes on Centaur up top. Saint, can he make his way out of this? They've got the Phantom Lancer now arriving, actually going to jump in pretty deep to get the stomp off. They've also got the rockets flying through. Looks like Carl is 100% dead. Can they do anything to kill off Saint? Looks like they won't be able to. Yaj can't quite catch him. They are going to get the Chronosphere out onto a couple, lining up with the stun. They finish off the Centaur. Phantom Lancer might be a little bit more difficult to bring down. He's actually going to turn around, tries to man fight. He got silenced up. He doppels a little bit further away. Knows that he has to just try and commit to the fight, keep the illusions going, but Nando not falling for it. Cleaves it down. Very nice Chronosphere, exactly what they needed. Yaj is going to get just shuriken tossed. And a little bit of a zoning static storm. Nando just standing there, hands off the keyboard, it looks like, as In Your Dream is actually laying in with the rockets. Going to drive Lumic and Nando all the way back towards their base. So, man, even with the nice Chronosphere, it ends up being a 2 for 3. Which just goes to show how strong Boom are at this stage of the game. Going back to that earlier thought, I mean, the Void can kind of get around the lack of a frontline problem by just being the primary initiator, picking up a Shadow Blade or something like that, but I don't know, Shadow Blade's not going to be that easy, given that there's already a Nyx Assassin on his team. Like, the Bounty Hunter has track, there's already going to be sentry wards down. That's pretty much just Disruptor's life this game. Buy as many sentry wards as you can and protect your cores, and the vision game from Boom is so excellent. Look at this. They got tabs on the Radiant jungle, they got tabs on the other part of the Radiant jungle, the Tri-Camp area. It's all locked down, and that's going to set them up to some really nice movements later on. Maybe a smoke rotation with the Centaur coming out soon. Kaya up on the Tinker, so his burst damage is really getting scary. And Carl not going to opt for the Blink. In fact, does just pick up the Yule Scepter. Very defensive item build overall. Execration actually the ones to smoke. A little bit unexpected with the Chronosphere still being on cooldown for 20 seconds, but it looks like they want to try and contest. Bounty Hunter immediately breaks this, starts throwing out the tracks, and Tinker now arrives. And they're going to just stampede their way in. They are going to be able to get the glimpse back. This is the power of that synergy between the Bounty and the Disruptor. And can they even look for more? Tinker stunned up over in the trees for a second, but looks like they're keen to just continue pressing forward. Lumic actually just getting rocketed down. Can they finish him off? Does he have enough of a mana pool? Looks like he might actually have it. In Your Dream hugging the edge of the map. Oh, the raindrop almost saving Lumic, but not enough. I'm kind of surprised they didn't just ban the Tinker, to be honest. It seemed like they were like, oh yeah, if they pick Tinker, we'll just pick Nyx Assassin, but I don't know how much of a counter that's being the silence out of the Void. Looks like he might actually be able to survive. The burst damage coming in, they're going to get the glimpse back. He now jumps through. The nukes can now stick. Tinker, will he be able to finish him off? It's only 2 points up in the rearm, but alright, he gets one more time walk off. And Nando will make his escape. Still managing to hold onto the Chronosphere, though Saint comes in, and the Urn Charge is actually going to finish him off. Jocom securing that one. Well, they've managed to get the Yules up onto the real Phantom Lancer. It looks like they will be able to burst him down with the Requiem and another follow-up onto the Bounty. Can they catch anything else? In Your Dream, waiting just around the corner. Nuking down Carl. Will probably have to go for the Shrine. Nice blink away. Is there an Ice Path from Lumic? There is, but just can't quite find the angle. And In Your Dream playing games with them as Saint now re-engages into the fight to kill off Carl. In Your Dream does need to head back to the fountain. He's going to get stunned up. Saint doing everything that he can to defend him. Will he just be able to walk this one off? Lumic, what's he got? Ice Path in a couple of seconds. Looks like the tick damage is going to be enough. And now Disruptor also joining the fight, but all he's got is auto attack. Saint, blink across, dodges the stun. Very nice. Yaj will be able to get off the Value Midas, but is that going to be enough to save his life? He does actually have the Spiked Carapace as well. So I don't think Saint can necessarily... Yeah, alright. They both know exactly what's going on. Force out the Spiked Carapace. Blinks himself away. Gets out of there. Nando jumping forward aggressively, but does not know that the Bounty Hunter is there. I think even if he did... Is it worth it to pop the Chrono to solo kill the Bounty Hunter? I don't really think so. Okay, well we do have nighttime at the very least. Once again, 3 minutes. An opportunity for Execration to make things happen. Their Chrono is still up. There's not really that many long cooldowns on the Boom side, unfortunately. So, not too much of a window in that regard. And it looks like Execration just deciding that They got to get these BKBs, and they have to hope that that's going to be the timing this game. I still feel like they're ill-equipped to deal with the Tinker. I still kind of feel like they're ill-equipped to deal with the Phantom Lancer. Maybe as the Void picks up more items, things will get easier, but we'll have to see. Yaj scouting things out. Is that going to matter, though? Raging Potato getting gone on. He's pretty fast, but there's a glimpse all the way back into the kinetic field. In Your Dream even going to get involved, securing that kill for himself. Not rushing straight into the Aghanim Scepter, interestingly enough, is kind of going for the... I personally think of Bloodstone on Tinker as like an insurance policy item. Like, you're going to build up a pretty big streak, you don't die all that often, but the way that you lose games a lot of the time as Tinker is that you get picked off once, you're dead for 100 seconds, and then your team just loses the game. So having the Bloodstone certainly helps. I mean, the mana regen also great, but the other thing is that, like, your Tinker, so long as you're not dying, you can kind of just go back to base a lot of the time. He's going to get caught out here by Yaj, taking some pretty big damage. There's another mana burn coming through. In Your Dream's actually surviving courtesy of the Spell Lifesteal talent. And meanwhile, they find the Jakiro, who is coming in to try and lend an assist. Raging Potato. He's fast, but is he fast enough to survive? In Your Dream jumping in, but just blinks right on top of Nando. Carl's also around the corner. Saint going to try and save him with the stomp, but it's not going to be enough. Now the Requiem Bomb coming through. Jokam finished off. Okay, they chased a bit too far there. Saint also getting bashed up. Nando doing decent damage. Kinetic Field Static Storm, is that going to be enough to kill him off? I don't know if it will be, and Yaj nicely played using the Spiked Carapace, relying on that Reflect off of the, what's it called? Off of the return. At the same time, Phantom Lancer took out the tier 2 bottom, so that fight was not a complete disaster for Boom, but still very nice turnaround for Execration, and managing to find the Tinker once again. I thought Nando would be a bit closer to his BKB. Did he actually get any of those kills? I don't think so, no. Alright, so didn't get any of the last hits, but Carl has his BKB at the very least. 10-second charge, ready to rock and roll. Lumic doing a little bit of dewarding. Always difficult when you're playing against the Bounty Hunter. He can just place wards that like no other position 4, other than maybe Ricky, kind of can. So these deep wards, I think, are pretty unlikely to be dealt with. Tier 1 tower still standing on mid is good news for Execration. Certainly need all the map control that they can muster. And Bounty Hunter just working his way towards a 4-stab. And Tinker, in fact, changes his mind. In Your Dream just going to be going for the burst damage. Maybe seeing what's been happening with the Void in these last couple of fights and deciding that if they get him in the Static Storm or they get him in a stun, they really want to find that kill. Nice glimpse back into the Stomp. Raging Potato hits the deck and some track money for the rest of the team. And Bounty maybe not done. Doesn't actually know that the Nyx Assassin is here. And looks like no sentries anywhere along the path. So he's actually just coming in to try and get a couple more wards down. And still farming away. Alright, well, we're chilling for a bit, but it's daytime. I would anticipate the Boom are going to go make some kind of a play. They're still only ahead by 2k net worth, which doesn't bode all that well, given that they're up a bunch of kills, and they've got the Bounty Hunter on their team. Lumic looking quite dead here. In Your Dream, not using the Dagon, just going to rely on the rockets to finish him off, it looks like. Bonk. On the other side, Yaj wants his cute, gets a very fast ultimate off, actually baiting him a little bit with this Sentry Ward, just waiting for the initiation. Now they should be able to find the turnaround. No Spiked Carapace, gets off a good stun, but In Your Dream with the zap to the backside, finishing that kill. Gets the Dagon 1, but looking like he now kind of wants the Bloodstone. This is a bit of a risky build, in my opinion, like getting the Kaya Dagon. Your cast range on the Dagon is not that good. You do have to put yourself in a pretty precarious situation. But his team does have decent front lines to kind of set up for him. Oh, they're going to catch that Raging Potato and just burst him. Alright, the Dagon's getting some value right now. As Boom start taking over the map once again. What's happening over here? Carl, what are you up to? Hoping for some kind of a solo kill, perhaps? But no blink, so just has to walk up and get off the Eels. Not to say that that's impossible. He is fast. He's got the drum charge as well, moving at 481 move speed on the Agi treads, but what else is going on? Oh, Nando finds a DD. Might get trapped inside of the pit. Is he going to get glimpsed back? Looks like he will. He might be forced to pop the BKB here. Just going to turn around and try and fight this one out. He's got the Chronosphere drop down onto the PL and a couple more auto attacks to finish him off. Now turns his attention over towards the Bounty Hunter, who lobs at a couple of tracks and gets himself back out of there. I think if not for the... they probably still get the kill, even without the double damage. The Nyx Assassin was there and didn't really use too many spells. They had the Mana Burn in reserve. Nando trying for this Roche. He is fully tracked up. And I don't know if this is going to be all that easy against Tinker. In Your Dream does need to be careful about how he approaches. He's wary of the Nyx Assassin, but I think they did just scout him out. Roche dropping quite low. Static Storm Kinetic Field going to catch up onto 3 along with the Centaur Stomp. Who can they actually finish off? That's the question. Nando not dead yet. He manages to jump across, but In Your Dream is waiting for him with the intercept. Carl pops his BKB, but it's not really doing anything as the Requiem is a complete whiff, just using it defensively. He's going to solo tap that shrine so that he can re-engage into this fight. Have they managed to find In Your Dream? They actually catch him with the stun. Raging Potato and Yaj doing their job to bring him down. Big damage on that Mana Burn. Oh, In Your Dream. I guess he had to commit for that Void kill, but Tinker going down, and Shadow Fiend will be able to secure the Aegis in the end, so Execration slightly outmaneuvering there. I mean, a little bit of good luck to get the DD up on the Void to start everything off. And get a glimpse back into the Kinetic Field, into the Stomp. Another track kill going their way. So, still have something to say about this game. And Execration, the one thing that is carrying them pretty hard is the BKBs. So once those BKBs start to wear down, that's where the Tinker is really going to hit his stride once again. And even the Phantom Lancer to an extent. Decent amount of his damage is the Mana Burn. The Centaur Lockdown also relying on those BKBs not being around, since it is a fairly easy stun to dodge with a BKB. You compare it to, say... What's a good comparison? I think, Slithering Crush is a little bit faster. I feel like it's a bit more difficult to dodge a BKB, dodge a Slithering Crush with a BKB, but Hoof Stomp is pretty easy. So, shouldn't be too much of a problem for these Execration players. Shadow Fiend, having picked up level 20, starts setting his sights towards his level 25. And a Hex, anything that they can lock down this PL or the Tinker with, going to be very helpful. Night Stalker also going to be going for a BKB. And Jakiro, despite the fact that they're playing against the Bounty Hunter, is still going to be opting for a Glimmer Cape. Though he still needs the entire, all the money for the Shadow Amulet, so it's not going to be easy. How is that Force Staff going on the Bounty? Alright, he's got it. That's good news. Anything to help save this Tinker. Who does almost have his Bloodstone picked up. Just needs another 900 or so gold. Execration with the smoke. Smoking on top of their sentries, knowing that they are not being scouted by wards. They do have the Chronosphere ready to go. It's a level 3 Chrono, 5-second duration. Carl with the Aegis still in hand for another couple of minutes. And they're just aggressively looking for the pickoff. Centaur's quite tanky, but I don't know if 3220 health is going to be enough in this situation. Carl pressing forward. Who have they managed to find? It's just the Bounty Hunter so far. They've actually got the Phantom Lancer trapped inside, but a nice Static Storm Kinetic Field is going to open up a bit of space. They lose one. Looks like PL also going to end up getting bashed down. Nothing that the Centaur can do to help him, and now they end up losing the Courier. Centaur trying to force staff himself into the base, but he gets caught by the Ice Path. Buyback out of the PL. In Your Dream doing everything that he can, but the BKB is just proving to be too strong, and Execration will find 4 kills, plus forcing the buyback, plus keeping the Aegis intact. This should be some pretty easy tier 2s for them coming up. I'm not even sure if I'm a fan of it. Like, the Dagon is good for bursting the Shadow Fiend or the Faceless Void if they do get caught in like a Centaur Stomp, but it just also feels like the supports are getting away with way too much on the Execration side. Lumic doesn't really have to be afraid at all because he's behind his cores. They're soaking the missiles for him. There's no laser bouncing around. Doesn't even really have to be all that worried if he gets tracked. Maybe if the PL gets his like blink BKB, then he can just run into the backlines and instantly slay the Jakiro. But gotta give Lumic some props. He's been landing some really nice ice paths this game. And he was sort of useful earlier for the liquid fire bringing down the buildings, but definitely his biggest contribution has just been landing sick ice paths. Maybe we'll see some Macropyre synergy later on with the Void. But speaking of Void, what's Nando got in terms of farm? is just going to be going for a Lincoln's up next. That Bloodstone finally completed for the Tinker. Does have his level 20 as well. Opting for the 100 damage, interestingly enough. As opposed to the March of the Machine standard. I mean, how much of an improvement is that? Oh, it's not much. Is that fit? 20%? I don't know how afraid Execration are of March this game. You don't even really want to be casting March, it feels like, if you're Tinker. Maybe the Nyx Assassin is the reason that he doesn't go for the Ags, so that he can't get Spiked Carapace in a bad situation. It's still tough. Oh, jumping forward, they're going to get the Yules up on the Disruptor. He's looking 100% dead. Going to glimpse back onto Carl, who will just pop the BKB to secure this. I think he could have looked at the minimap and known that his team would have had his back, but still. Easy pickoff. We got Bounty Hunter going for an E-Blade, which I guess is hopefully the solution to your cores getting Chronosphere, but we'll have to see. In your dream, cutting waves, I guess using the plus 100 damage to plink down the towers a little bit. But we've almost got Hex picked up on the Shadow Fiend. What's his level? Level 23. He just is going to end up being reclaimed. But Execration feeling like they're pretty firmly in control at this stage. And this was my one concern about the Boom lineup with their supports. When they fall behind really hard. The Disruptor and the Bounty Hunter are just not useful if there's heroes up in your face. Like, you know, at least Night Stalker, if there's a hero in his face, he can throw out a Silence, he can throw out a Void, he can kind of peel a little bit, but the Kinetic Field and the Glimpse just take way too long to set up. If the enemy team is just running straight at you. But alright, they know that Aegis is being reclaimed. They're going to go for a 4-man smoke. Centaur adding a little bit of plausible deniability to all of this as they move forward. Maybe they'll find Lumic. Do they have detection? They do have some sentries over on the Bounty Hunter. Tinker also ready to join. They're close enough to their shrine that he will be able to fight. Who can they find? Yaj actually going to scout this out a little bit. Blink Stomp not going to catch anyone. Raging Potato immediately pops the ultimate, and they're looking for more now. BKB going to get popped. Carl also popping the BKB as they charge in. Who have they managed to find? It is the Phantom Lancer. He gets back out of that, and these BKBs have not been used all that effectively. The Static Storm opening up some space in the fight. Raging Potato just going to try and focus down this kill. Not going to get stomped up. Saint getting stepped somewhat, as In Your Dream will finish the kill with the rockets. Execration being scouted by the track over at mid, but just able to reset and go and push out some lanes. And Nando picking up an Aghanim Scepter. So 60-second cooldown on that Chronosphere. It was the one big cooldown that his team was really waiting for. He was kind of the weakest link in terms of their ability to actually go and push aggressively. So I like this. He still has plenty of room to grab another damage item. He's farming plenty fast with the Mask of Madness and the Battle Fury, so if he feels like he needs an MKB so that he doesn't have to pop BKB every single time, I think that's good. Could also go for a Mjolnir. Bounty Hunter, gonna try and plant a couple of Cliff Wards. There is a gem on the Nyx Assassin, so he is keeping close tabs on this bounty. They've also got Lumic coming over. I don't know if this is really a kill. There's the Macropyre, actually. Nando is going to be able to get the Edge Chronosphere onto the Phantom Lancer. Still not quite enough damage just yet. He will be able to get off the Manta, getting bashed up a little bit more. Now the Doppel is forced. Ice Path cooling down soon. Kezcute finds himself in the middle of everything. But no Static Storm, so not enough control to really stop this Void from doing what he wants. And now they've managed to find the Tinker. They're going to Yules him up. In Your Dream has to get off a sick rearm blink away. Is he going to be able to grab it? He does, just getting Carapace afterwards. Gets the laser off onto Nando, but once again gets stuck, hexed up, finished off. And Execration find the all-important kill. He does have a 30-second respawn courtesy of the Bloodstone. And Execration would be wise to be a little bit wary of that, but still very nicely fought. As soon as they got the Yules off in the Tinker, they all instantly collapsed on him. They know that he is the heart and soul of this Boom lineup. And Phantom Lancer is still just kind of not really doing that much. This is, again, one of these situations where I feel like he didn't even necessarily use his like initial power spike that hard, but he desperately has to get to a survivability item to be able to do anything, which is tough. And I have to give Yaj some credit. I was concerned about this position 3 Nyx's impact in the game, but he's been putting in a ton of work. Opting for the health, Spike Carapace damage. Centaur does have his heart picked up now. He's going to be going for double heart, in fact. We'll see. Maybe he can just get ahead in terms of the region. They get a nice 2-man stomp. They actually know that the Nyx Assassin is here. No, Yaj was probably panicking a little bit, but no, he's okay. Will survive with the gem. Yeah, they even pinged that the Nyx Assassin is missing. They had absolutely no idea that they stomped him there. Oh, and they're gonna get stomped. He's got BKB. He's gonna be okay. They're gonna force it though, using the Static Storm. He's gonna just try and man up, but actually taking a lot of damage off the Centaur in the return. And now the Glimpse is gonna be taking him back. Can he get out of this? Does have a time walk to get away. There is a pursuit from the Tinker, however. The Chronosphere is going to be thrown out defensively, but it actually traps his teammates. This is the worst possible situation. Lumik and Carl both cursing Nando. He will be able to get away with the Shadow Fiend at the very least, but... oh no. Boom, just charging forward now. They're going to get the backdoor protection disabled. They've got all 5 of their heroes. Even if Nando buys back, he doesn't have the Chronosphere for another 35 seconds, and this could just be a straight up lane of Rack. Saint doesn't even have enough mana left to use spells, but he's the beefcake on the front lines. Void's gonna buy back, but what is he really threatening without the Chronosphere? In Your Dream has a couple of bottle tips, might be divvying those out pretty quickly, but the Centaur proving to just be way too strong. Oh my god. Yaj goes in, they stun him up, they're silencing him, they're doing everything that they can. The Spirit Vessel at the very least doing decent damage. BKB, Requiem coming out, Saint still surviving, gets slid forward by the Force Staff. They're still chasing after him, he's not rejoining his team, he's actually splitting off a little bit off to the side. Perhaps realizing that he's dead, Yaj does manage to catch one more. Looking like the Nyx, not the Nyx Assassin, but the Bounty Hunter will get caught out. Hexed up, brought down. Shadow Fiend with that level 25, able to chain spam the Hex. And, oh, they check Roshan, but it's actually pretty much a max duration respawn. Oh, that sucks. Okay, that was expensive. The boom frontline kind of collapsed. They do still have a 10-second BKB in reserve from the Phantom Lancer and buybacks on both of their dead heroes. Yeah, it's a guaranteed Roshan respawn at this point. Raging Potato going to be calling it out. Okay, so at least the Void buyback is not going to get punished too heavily. Roshan number 2, so Aegis and Cheese. And In Your Dream, back to cutting waves. Level 3 Dagon. I got a Hex queued up next. I personally would have liked to have seen the Hex a little bit earlier this game. I don't... The Bloodstone is useful, but it's as if you're planning to die, so... I don't know. Like, there's no way that the amount of survivability that the Bloodstone gives you is the difference between life and death, right? So it's pretty much just the respawn and the mana regen. Those are both good, but are they better than having permahex? I don't know. Nightstalker almost has himself a Solar Crest. Nyx Assassin's going to be going for an Octarine Core. Void will be going for that Mjolnir that I was talking about a little bit earlier, and SF also opting for Octarine. So we're going to see some truly ridiculous cooldowns on a couple of these items. 27-second cooldown BOTs already. And now Execration with a smoke. Boom, going to try and buy as much time as they can. Wait out this Aegis if possible. If they can get into the little window between the Void losing Aegis and not have... it's actually not that long. It's like a minute and a half. But if they can kill the Void in that window, they could go clean up 2 lanes of racks. So that's something that Execration are going to have to be aware of.
Dire's top tower is under
Saint
attack.
still just working on Heart numero dos.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Oh. What's going to happen here? They get the Ice Path, they got the Vision up onto the high ground. Can they burst him down? Requiem doing decent damage. Saint getting locked down. Do they have enough Force Staffs? He just barely manages to get off the Stampede. Nando jumping in. Not willing to commit the Chronosphere on just the Centaur kill. Getting glimpsed sideways. But he's going to be A-okay as the rocket spam does now fly out. Boom. Forced to give up on split pushing down at bottom. Though the Tinker can continue that endeavor in a little bit. Almost... Wait, how far off is he from this? So he needs 48, 50. So 900 gold to go. Almost has his level 25 as well. I guess without the Ags, neither of these is crazy impactful. But the mini stun is still annoying. I would guess that he probably goes for that. Bounty Hunter also still working his way towards the E-Blade. Phantom Lancer not opting for the... I would guess... Let's call it the more traditional Heart, actually just deciding that they desperately need a Nullifier. The BKBs are certainly very annoying. The Yules is a very good defensive item. If they can nullify the Void's BKB and then just silence him, that would be huge. The same would also apply if Disruptor managed to finish this Aghanim Scepter, but I mean, he's still got another 2,200 gold to farm, and he's the lowest priority hero on the team. Though there could be some track kills coming in the next couple of minutes, and that would be the Ags perhaps completed, but alright, there you go. Tinker, now with the Hex ready. Still a somewhat dangerous game in terms of using this Dagon, but at least the Scythe has pretty decent range, even without the lens. And these next few minutes are going to be extremely crucial. Aegis is going to be reclaimed in, what, 1 minute and 40 seconds? Nyx has opted against the Octarine in the end, is actually just going to be going for a Lotus. Certainly a very nice item to have against the Tinker. Not as nice against the Hex as it used to be, because of the Undispellable Hex, of course, but still, it means that Tinker just has to be more careful about pressing his buttons. And the other thing about Tinker is a lot of the time is you're kind of queuing multiple things up. You're not always reacting exactly what's going on right this second. You're kind of playing a few seconds in advance, and that's where you can easily like queue up a Hex on somebody who isn't Lotused, and they get Lotused in the middle of your combo being delivered, and you're just doomed. They're still holding on. Execration do in theory have the Jakiro to be able to break, like, or chip the high ground with Liquid Fire, but he did opt for the dual breath damage instead of the attack range this game. So a little bit more difficult for him to go forward and chip. Nyx just going to be disassembling his boots for his Lotus. Poor Midas has been relegated to the backpack, so not as much value there. But Execration still definitely in control of the map, in control in terms of the net worth. 11k their advantage. Boom, smoking up. I think right around the time that Roshan's going to be the Aegis is going to be reclaimed. That is probably what they're playing for here. Again, it's this window that I talked about. Void, no buyback, but also no Aegis. So, can they make it happen? Yeah, alright, there you go. Aegis down. Nando's jumped forward somewhat. Saint's actually going to find him. They are going to get the Yules out. Can they burst him down? Requiem doing decent damage. They hex him up. Can they force staff him up onto the high ground? He's praying for a force staff. He gets out of the hex. He's tanky enough to survive through everything, and that's a lot of cooldowns committed. They've got the glimpse back onto the Nyx Assassin. Lotus Orb doing a decent amount of work, but looks like he will still be brought down, so focusing on him. The rest of Execration taking the high ground, but I don't know if that's really going to help. And the blink away from In Your Dream. He gets out of the Chronosphere. Can he get off the hex? He will be able to. They should just be able to chain hex down the Faceless Void. In Your Dream keeping it going. They've got another Centaur stomp. Nando brought down. He's dead for 115 with no buyback. They will pop the BKB on the Shadow Fiend out of the glimpse. Gets him back out of there, but it's a 2-for-1 exchange. No buybacks expended on Boom. And this is now their opportunity to charge right down the mid lane and see if they can't finish up this lane of Rax. There is a glyph, and the Void will have buyback in 40 seconds. Oh no, he's actually short of the money as well, since he bought the Mjolnir. Alright, this is a huge window. Nobody else on Boom needs to push out lanes. They can just leave that to the Tinker. Everybody else can just march down the mid lane. Raging Potato is, I guess, potentially hoping to find the Tinker on a side lane and prevent this push. But I think seeing Tinker mid, he is actually just going to push out the wave up top. Alright, well, let's see. This is a dangerous game for Tinker to play. The Night Stalker's BKB is on cooldown, but if he whiffs the combo even a single time, then Night Stalker just pops up, uses the cheese BKBs, and then kills him. So, yeah, In Your Dream, not even going to bother, just playing it safe. They sense this Rax opportunity. Carl with the Arcane Rune. Now wearing out, but still very low cooldowns. 9.9 second hex. But what can he really do in terms of damage? That is the question. Phantom Lancer tanking it up. They are going to get the hex over to the Shadow Fiend. Nice Glimmer Cape from the Jakiro. Yaj also jumping in aggressively. Gets off a decent stun onto a couple. Tinker going to get Requiem Bomb. Will he be able to make his way out? Unable to get off the blink. Tinker's dead, but it's only for 44 seconds. They also managed to kill off the Centaur, and all of this without the Faceless Void. They're just going crazy on Execration. Looks like they will also finish off the Disruptor. Nice Carapace across town onto the Thunderstrike. Yaj completely winning that fight for his team. 100%. Like, he blinked in, he got the Carapace off. I think he got like a 3-man stun as well after that. And they didn't even get the lane of Rax on the side of Boom. They do have their Tinker back up in 15 seconds, but as quickly as it swung down the mid lane, it's going to swing back. Carl forcing things up onto the high ground, just hoping to find one of the squishier heroes as he blinks his way in. And Nando with the Chronosphere up his sleeve, ready to find the Tinker at a moment's notice. Also a buyback out of the Centaur. So Saint has to be a little bit more careful at this stage. Looks like Lumic keen to try and split these lanes somewhat. Carl's just sitting on the high ground. I don't know about this positioning for him. Yab's gonna go jumping in. Mana burn under the Centaur. If they can just focus him down, that would be great. Do they have enough damage? That's the question. The macro power coming through. Looks like that should do it. Force Staff 1, maybe Force Staff number 2 also coming in. He survives. The Heart's gonna keep him healthy. They do force out the Phantom Lancer buyback. And it looks like for Execration, they're gonna be happy with that. Backing themselves up, the ping on the Roche. It is a potential respawn soon, and will in fact be respawning in 1 second's time. Yaj gonna be scouting that out. Shadow Fiend looking towards his... Oh my god, he's so rich. What the heck? 7.8k gold on Shadow Fiend. BOT2 flying out. I guess he buys a Moon Shard after that. Maybe you give the Moon Shard to your Void instead. I guess the other question is the Eul's still useful? Would you prefer like a Dagon 5 to the Eul's? Maybe. Oh, Centaur in some trouble. This assassin proving to be very annoying for him. They are going to get the Blade Mail off on the Centaur, able to stampede a little bit further away, but they've got the Eul Scepter control straight down into the Ice Path, and now Nando lays in with those auto attacks, manages to catch 2 up on the high ground with the Chronosphere. Yaj blinking into it a little bit in your dream, doing his best to cycle down this Nyx Assassin, but he can't afford to be caught, and Raging Potato is hot on his heels. He gets the silence off. He's going to try for the TP back into the fountain. Is it going to be enough for him to survive? Just barely. Needs to heal up, but at the same time, his team is just getting run down. The BKB on the Phantom Lancer, not enough to save him as Carl just lays in with the damage from outside. Those raises doing so much work. Bounty trying to survive, but there's an ultra kill. In your dream, it's him versus the world, but now he's being hexed up, stunned as well. Can they focus him down inside of his own fountain? There's a rampage for Execration. Carl making it happen. I doubted the Shadow Fiend pick initially, but he got to his level 25. He had the setup from Nando on the Faceless Void, and Execration will, in the end, be able to take the win here in Game 1 against Boom. So... I gotta give Execration some props. They weren't that far behind. Like there was this looming sense that maybe Boom weren't far enough ahead. They had like a 7 or 8 kill advantage, and they had a bounty hunter, and they were only 2k net worth ahead. So it turned out that the farming build from Nando was the perfect choice. I was worried after the early game wasn't going so well that they really needed to, you know, he really needed to get active and start making stuff happen for his team. But it turned out that Raging Potato, Yaj, and even Lumic were able to carry that burden, wait for the SF and the Void to well and truly come online. And the PL just... I thought they didn't have the tools to deal with him, but it turned out the Chronosphere was more than enough. They managed to deal with the Tinker in other ways. They didn't even really have to catch him. So that's going to wrap it up for Game 1, guys. I'm going to go and see if Lumi is now around for Game 2. Again, I think he misread the schedule. I'm not going to flame him too much. The schedule has been changing a lot, but see you guys soon for Game 2 of Execration versus Boom ID. Oh, actually, I'll show you the scoreboard first. There you go. That's your scoreboard. Look at that damage dealt. 38k. Tinker, I mean, also pretty solid, but oh, PL. Not a good look. 11.8k damage. Outdamaged. Almost outdamaged by his Disruptor, or else almost tied with his Disruptor. That is not what you want to be seeing as your position 1. This is a little bit more like it. But with that, I'm gonna head to a short break, guys, and I'll see you soon for Game 2.